Yeah, I think we're finally getting the Metatron underway, aside from my light bulb issue. I know we've moved the headquarters a zillion times. I really sincerely hope this is the last time we move it all time. Ugh, I keep saying that too. All right, so last week we did what we did. I don't remember what it was, and I think we did Kabbalistic stuff. I don't know if I remember. But I know we did Gear. And in the Gear class, we found the Radvaz. The Radvaz, by the way, he's buried in Sfat. He's a Sfat guy. I kind of knew that, remembered that, but not. Okay, whatever. And the Radvaz, as we researched it, he's going to be, again, it's always interesting over the years. You find like interesting rabbis that never got enough airtime. Meaning the Radvaz was one of the famous resolvers of the Rambam, which that's always an interesting thing, right? When you have someone famous that resolves the Rambam. So apparently that was his thing, resolving contradictions in the Rambam. I guess the hardcore Rambam nicks, well, I guess it's not even safe to say that they've heard of him, because usually you'll find that the Rambam people are anti-real Rambam. Like, you know what I mean? People that really resolve the Rambam, especially Brisk. No, we don't do that. Okay, whatever. So I'm sure if I were to really invest in a Radvaz and go through the Rambam with the Radvaz, you would see that he would resolve the contradictions. Because I think anyone with half a brain can understand that the Rambam is, and Jacques, you were asking about this, is filled with contradictions. And I guess you could ask a good question. Why is the Rambam so contradicting? I suppose I would say the least of the concerns of the contradictions are the Rambam himself. I think the nature of the contradictions are in the Torah itself, which again, anybody with half a brain that's learned the Talmud would see there are plenty of contradictions in the Talmud, which brings us to our soup du jour, Ger Toshav. And I think Ger Toshav is par excellence the inyan of contradiction. There is a Ger today. There is not a Ger today. There's a Ger this, there's a Ger, right? It's contradiction city. And then when there's a contradiction, the unlearned, or the what do you call it, the lumpen amongst us, they say, would call it a machlokis. And I come from the school of thought that there really is no such thing in general as a machlokis. There are the different aspects of the sugya being accentuated. And when you find the indigenous sugya, you will find each side of this apparent machlokis is actually expressing a different aspect of the sugya. Then you would need to become a master of the greater sugya to resolve the machlokis, the contradiction. And then you have the Rambam masters like Brisk, ostensibly the Radvaz, that will locate the sugyas that you, the ignorant amongst us, just don't know. And never underestimate your ability to be the ignoramus. Jacques, can you tell me why you're an ignoramus? And I don't mean that in a condescending way. Do you know the answer why you're an ignoramus? Or Ross, either one of you know why? Feel free to unmute your microphone and admit your ignoramusness. Any takers? Jacques, Ross, Jacques? No, Jacques?
No, I'm busy scribbling notes real fast here.
Because we simply don't know.
Yeah, there are, I'm sorry to tell you, you idiot, there are parts of the sugya you just don't know. And in fact, what makes you so arrogant to think that you do know? Right? I mean, like the Moshe Shulmans of the world, oh, you don't know. Of course I don't know. Why do I owe you something that you must assume I know everything? Why? I just don't know everything. Why is it assumed I am the Jewish master spirit, blah, blah. I don't know. That's why I learned Torah, to find aspects of sugyas I just don't know. And it's not a crime. It's life. Jacques, there are things in shower repair you don't know. Point blank. It is that simple.
No, that can't be.
I know. I'll even tell you something interesting from my body composition work. Again, I'm learning things every day in body composition. And I would tell you, 6 months ago, I was an expert in body, and I would tell you today I know more than I did then. I'm starting to think that one of the biggest benefits of InBody is that it's a great tool for women. And I'll tell you why. Men losing weight is actually usually quite simple. Because men have a significant amount of muscle mass in contradistinction to women, a man's total daily energy expenditure, the amount of calories that he can consume, is significantly higher than his basal metabolic rate, the minimal amount of calories in a state of rest. So all you need to do is close your mouth from eating and work your muscles a little bit. And in that calorie deficit, you will lose a significant amount of weight. Your BMR will be somewhere around, I don't know, 1,700, 1,800. And your ceiling will be around 2,500. And therefore, if you just bring it down to about 2,000, you will lose weight. That's a very overly simplified way of putting it, but that's the situation. Now, with a woman, what happens if her BMR is 1,200 and her maximum, and this is a question for you guys, I want you guys to answer this, all right? Her ceiling is 1,400. How is she going to lose weight? Her minimum is 1,200, her maximum is 1,400. What's the answer, boys? How does she lose weight?
Work on her muscles.
No, she's not going to be as strong as you. Try again.
Go for a jog.
Yeah, you're getting there. Yeah. So I did this actually this morning because Yael is one of those women, like most women. The window is extremely small. And this is why women cry and complain they can't lose weight. So I never thought to, because I work for InBody, I know the formulas. And I did the math. InBody defaults to a lightly active personality. And if you do the math at a sedentary level, she can't not lose weight because her expenditure is actually less than her BMR. It's crazy. It doesn't even work out. So the only thing she can do to expand the window is increase her physical activity level significantly to create the window of opportunity, right? So a man needs to just stop eating pizza and junk and use his muscles. And the woman, she needs to just keep being a woman, moving around, picking up the kids, like just really moving a lot with vigor. And the more she moves and she increases her physical activity level, she will create that fat burning zone. Now, I kind of knew that, but until I really worked out the math this morning, I wouldn't say I bet my life on it in terms of just really putting it into practice. So there was a part of the sugya that I did not know. And I'm sure tomorrow I will learn parts of the sugya that I just don't know. Okay. So the sugya ist in the resolution of the Rambam will yield new insight to the sugya that you just don't know. Okay. Now, we've been involved in the Ger sugya for quite some time, years and years. And I know I've definitely touched on all of it. I will say that. But I think now that time is going by, I'm, I don't know, I'm thinking about a lot of things in relationship to the sugya. And it brought us to last week. The book, one of the books we use, Resolve the Contradiction in the Rambam. There's two kinds of goy. Blah, blah, blah. Revisit last week for that insight. So it got me thinking, yes, there is a ger toshav in the Rambam, meaning from like a very clear authoritative source. But then I was meditating this week and the end of last week, can we put to rest the Jubilee? Because, okay, there is a ger toshav, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, from what we found last week, you must admit that there is a ger toshav in some kind of reality, and he's not a goy. Okay, at this point, if you deny that, you're just kind of an idiot. And I would have no problem telling you that. But you would have a leg up on me because we would say, okay, but today, this ger toshav does not exist. So the question is, can we resolve that? Can we absolutely pin down that there is a ger toshav today? So I thought about it. To tell you the truth, I don't even remember. No, I'll tell you how I thought about it. I went to Jubilee in Erechin, and it led me to the Rambam in Shemitah. And the Rambam, that's the source. In the Rambam, there's no ger toshav except for Jubilee. You guys with me so far?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so the Rambam says there's no ger toshav. And obviously he's getting it from Erechin. From there, I don't remember I don't remember. I was kind of in a meditative thing, but I got to Avodah Zarah, right? And somehow it led me to Avodah Zarah, the famous Ezehu ger toshav, and then the in Avodah Zarah 64, there's the wine, the goy ger blah 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 wine. Again, I don't remember how it clicked, but somehow it all clicked in my head. And I went to the Shulchan Aruch, which is here, looked up the law, ger toshav. And then before class today, I went into the Torah, which is the predecessor of the Shulchan Aruch, looked it up again, and here's I believe this would be this is kind of a monumental moment if you think about it. I think I've actually laid to rest in my mind that there is a ger toshav today. It's pretty lame and pathetic that I'm still trying to prove this 10 years later after learning with Ross and Ray Pedersen's Noahide Nations. But whatever, I guess I'm a little bit stubborn and persistent. I know I've been claiming for years that I've solved it, and I have solved it. But if we are going to play devil's advocate and pretend to exist in a religious environment with all of its challenges and obstacles, the challenge to myself was, can we prove ger toshav even in a religious domain? Remember this, the nature of our renewed group is a no what do you call it? Nothing blah 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 on religion. No religion here. Because when you have these people like the Radvaz is going to be Torah B. He's going to be a religious superhero that in his religiosity, he speaks about this thing called the ger toshav. He's not a goy. That's already the Torah A from the coming out of the Torah B. And as much as I like Torah A, and I've been teaching this type of Torah A for over a decade, it doesn't change anything in religion. The religious people would still say, in the most stubborn way, yes, but there is no ger toshav today. I think we've all heard that answer before. So after a decade, we've learned our lesson that Torah A will get you nowhere in influencing the religious amongst us. It will not. You will not win anything, get anything. You will not influence. You will not change. Religion is very, very, very much a static dogma. That's why I'm against religion. And I think the rabbis are against religion. And this is why the ones that exist in religion, they always elevate. The quality ones are elevating from B to A. Call it brisk, call it Radvaz. I mean, there's a zillion of them. But they still existed within the realm of Torah B religion, Judaism. And I think this is why people like the Vilna Gaon, Ramchal, and famous rabbis struggled. Because in the end, there is no changing religion in Judaism. And as much as they are interesting in their Torah A, it doesn't do anything. And that was always their plight. We've heard this millions of times. The rabbis struggling to hasten the redemption or Mashiach or whatever. I don't know what you would want to call it, but revelation changing efforts. So with that said, I give up and I quit. And I would like to now try, which I think it's the way that the laws of Ger Toshav was always going, and this is where like me and Chaim really split, was he wanted to go straight up biblical. Ger in your gate. And I'm calling it now Levitical. The Levitical Torah, which does not exist today. I don't know what you think, but there is certainly no Holy of Holies and a Kohen Gadol and a temple and a Sanhedrin and holiness. It does not exist today. We are clearly in exile. So the Torah of Moses on the Levitical level of revelation does not exist today. So you can talk about the prophet all you want and the temple and all these fantastic biblical things, but they are very much not our reality. And I have no doubt, obviously, that there would be a ger in the Levitical revelation. I think, again, you'd have to be an idiot to deny that, which we have found those idiots. Ger's convert. You're an idiot. But we are not Levitically equipped. So we are in religion in Torah B and largely in Torah C. Torah C is what I'm calling a goy that learns Torah. We kill him. That's Torah C. Right? All of those very, very literal things that people believe. That is not what the rabbis believe. It's what they said, but it's not what they believed. Because the rabbis that said it, they understood the meaning. And then from that, those same rabbis would often elevate that revelation to Torah A. And that's already far from Judaism and in direct contrast and conflict with Torah C. So now the Torah C rabbi or devotee will vehemently fight the Torah A revelation. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Yes or no? Chime in, just so I know you're with me. Does this sound familiar? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So then let's stop with Torah A, because all it does is upset Torah C. And it's a waste of time. It's going to be a Facebook fight. I think we have better things to do than Facebook fight. So Torah C negates Torah A. Right now, I still advocate, obviously, learning Torah A and living Torah A. But if we're going to promote I'm not saying I'm going to promote a message, but I'm saying if you wanted to promote a message, it can't be C and it can't be A. Because we are not Levitically and we are not messianic, like the, what do you call them? The missionary rabbis, right? Which are largely messianics. I mean, it is what it is. I hate to say it. But as much as I don't like it, The world's in Torah B. Tell me if I'm wrong. Show me any of your friends in any faith and show me one that's not Torah B. Now, they may degrade to C and they may be inclined to A, but at the end of the day, C is indigenous to B and A defaults to B. Again, true or false?
True so far.
Yeah. So I don't think we have to prove B, but if you're gonna prove anything, it's got to be in B. You understand? A doesn't do anything as much as it should, and it only upsets C, and then C fights A, and that's what we did for 10 years, going from B to A to C, back to A. Meanwhile, the masses are in B, looking on the sidelines, secretly admiring A, secretly believing C, and ultimately being confused in B. Sound familiar? I think so. So, with that said, is there a Ger Toshav today such that the Jubilee would not present an obstruction to Ger Toshav? And there may be, at this point, more aspects of the sugya we can bring in. I think it's a new sugya. When I say a new sugya, I think we are realigning the greater Ger sugya through the prism of what I'm about to say. It looks like the wine sugya is Ger Toshav today. Why? And this is what the Radvaz brought, not coincidentally enough. The rabbis, and we mean the real rabbis, created a religion called Judaism, following the destruction of the temple. And again, I'm sorry to tell you, but if you don't believe that, you're an idiot. Because you'll say, no, there was always Judaism. No, there wasn't. There is Levitical Torah, and then there's the destruction and the establishment of exile Judaism as a memorial to Levitical Torah, which we call Judaism. And in Judaism, there is a deep fear and paranoia of the Gentile. And remember where we're at 2,000 years ago. I think if I were to call you guys Gentiles, I think you would be afraid of the Gentiles. These were not pleasant people. And I'm not saying the Jews were superior people. But the message of the rabbi to this people is we have to keep our survival. And to do that, we are going to create a pseudo-Levitical reality. And to preserve that reality, think about this. To preserve that reality, we will demonize the Gentile heathen by declaring them as idolaters. But not literally. We the rabbis know it's not literal. And we don't care if you're an idolater or not. I'm actually using you. I'm going to call you an idolater and impose a level of impurity, tuma, of the idolater, so that I, the Jew, will somehow believe that if I mingle with you, I will get your idolatrous tuma on me. So now there's a separation between Jews and Goyim. And in that separation, we don't drink together. We don't eat together. Certain business we don't do together. We don't do the Shabbat together unless I cheat on my Shabbat with you, called the Shabbos Goy. Can you see where I'm going with this? And this is very, very, very much Judaism in halacha. Open up any aspect of halacha. Any aspect. And there are two characters, the Jew and the Goy, the Yehudi and the Eina Yehudi. It's all through halacha. All through. And we've built a religion on what a Jew is and what a Jew does. This is the Torah B religion and how the Jew believes in God, how the Jew prays to God, none of this is Torah A. And none of this is Levitical. None of it. None of it. We use the goy in his idolatrous tuma to help preserve our Torah B Jewish religion, which is a memorial to Levitical Torah. Now, that's a very overly simplified way of putting it, and it's much more complex and nuanced than that. But in short, that's what it is. Now, the rabbis are not insane, right? They are not insane, and they're very aware of what they've done. And most of these goyim are probably not pleasant people in terms of the Levitical relationship, okay? They may have been decent human beings, but they're not Levitically human. They're not going to be concerned with the Levitical will of God. And I'm not saying that Jewish people are either, but the rabbis are creating a system. And because the rabbis are sane, they create a loophole. If said Gentile were to do the truth and in some way, formally or informally, accept the 7 laws of Noah, this would call him, in Torah B, Jewish religion, a ger toshav. Such Gentile would be able, in some capacity, to engage in my Jewish wine, my Jewish food, my Jewish blah, 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 because the idolater, akum, Gentile, goy, nachri, eino Yehudi, who has the tuma of that, is a rabbinical enactment on him to keep me, the Jew, away from him. But if this goy does not qualify because he kept the Torah B religion prescription, now as a proper Noahide, a proper follower, devotee of 7 laws, and you can argue he is a Noahide, even though it's a made-up term. But in my Torah B Judaism, I call him ger toshav, because my religion is relaxed around him. I'm going to drink wine. I cannot associate with this goy. Akum, an impure goy. But if this goy has removed that tuma from him and is a ger toshav, I can relax. Now, he's not Jewish, Torah B religion. He's not a goy. And the rabbis created a new construct of the relaxation and the leniences that are allowed because of my Gentile ger toshav friend. He can maybe touch my wine, be around my wine, cook for me. There's a whole new construct of the relationship of this ger toshav and the Jew. And now every single time that there is a din of Jew and akum, more often than not, and it's usually brought up in the Talmud, if not always, there will be a loophole in the advent that this goy is actually a ger toshav. So I believe this is in fact why there's a ger toshav today. When my Jewish religion is in the vicinity of this goy, and the goy is not a goy because he's a proper Noahide, now I would call him ger toshav, and my Torah B Jewish religion would relax around him. I believe that is the ger toshav of today. Thoughts, comments, or feedback? Go ahead.
it seems like you're leaving a lot of room for the Noahide to actually exist in this reasoning.
Why?
Well, I mean, that's what what you're actually calling him.
Because in the non-Jewish world, it would be very, very simple to become this character. Even a Muslim would be this character, right?
But
So
we always said that the Noahide, it falls in the category of Nochri.
he does.
So how can he be called a Ger Toshav? How can you see him as a Ger Toshav?
First of all, Betty Evid, very Betty Evid, the Torah B Jew should actually not be calling him Noahide. That's my point. Right?
So
In his low grade world, he could call himself a Noahide if he wishes to, improperly. But the Jew would have a reason to relax and then call him a Ger Toshav. That's why I'm calling it Noahide. He does not need to be special. And that's one of the big attacks on Ger is you guys say you're special. He actually need not be special. Any indication that he is not the Akum in the traditional sense, he should be a Ger Toshav.
Where does rejection of Shituf come in now?
It doesn't, because even an Ishmaelite in his faith, he's not a proper idolater. I'm saying this is very, very Bedi Evid. Now
we know it's all Shituf, but
right. I think where the sugya goes is in Lecharchila, right? Is that if I, the Jew, really want to relax, I think this is the answer, right? If I truly want to relax my religion, it seems that you really should be a Ger Toshav, rejecting Shituf with Kabbalah.
But that's not the case.
What do you mean?
They would never say that you're a Ger Toshav. They would say you're a Noahide.
That's the problem. It's problematic on both sides. They're not willing to be a real Ger Toshav, and the Jew is calling a Bedi Evid Ger Toshav a go. See what I'm saying? It's convoluted in every way. Every way. In every single way, everyone's got it backwards and wrong. The Noahide, who's low grade, actually would be a low grade Ger Toshav, and then the Jew is calling every type of Ger Toshav an Akum. It makes no sense on any side. And I think that the true prescription in Torah B Judaism would be I'm a real Jew, meaning I'm a solid Torah B. I'm not Torah C, irrespective if I'm Torah A or not. I don't degrade myself to Torah C. Okay, I don't do that. So I'm a God-fearing Torah B Jew. And I would say, I'm curious as a Torah B Jew. This Gentile acquaintance of mine, for whatever reason, wants to drink whatever, wine, bread, I don't know. And I would ask myself, can I relax my religion around him? The answer would be Bedi Evid. Well, very Bedi Evid. If I know, this is actually the answer, Jacques. Very, very, very Bedi Evid. If I know he's not a real idolater, I can relax. And then you see the spectrum. If I know he's real, like he's just a good guy, blah blah blah, unofficially, technically, most Bedi Evid I can relax. And this is written, by the way. This is written. I know he's not an idolater. And then every level forward, let's say, I think Christianity could be a problem because of Shituf. Let's skip that for a second, and go from I know he's not an idolater. He's like an atheist, good guy, but he's not an idolater. And then he's a Noahide, and then he's basically Ger Toshav with Kabbalah. And if I can find this guy to be a again, I'm a Torah B Jew, right? I'm very, very by the book. And he comes to my synagogue and he stands before three chaverim. He says, I, blah, blah, blah. We can go with that. This is a legit Kabbalah, no shituf, ger toshav. We should be relaxing our Judaism with him. 100%. You understand? 1,000,000%. Relax. Relax. He's the goy that you can bring into all your inner sanctum circles of halacha. If it's the Noahide, technically the same too, Bedi Evid. Technically. He's a goofy Noahide with a shirt, all these things. And again, all the way down the spectrum until where he's like your loyal delivery driver, blah, blah, blah. You know he's not an idolater. It's the same thing. The question is on me, the Jew. If I'm a real hardcore Torah B Jew, this is the distinction. What level do I need to relax? And the answer would be a proper ger toshav, no shitu kabbalah. You understand?
Yeah. Okay. Ideally, that is it.
Yeah.
But
so then the ger movement would be saying, why not create that guy? Why create Noahide goofiness? Okay, and your Italian friend that's an atheist that you kid around with, all these goofy things. Why not? If you're in Torah B already, if we're all in Torah B, make a system of Torah B to create the ger toshav Gentile, so that we all relax. Relax. You're not proselytizing him. He wants to do this. He's already willing and wanting. We're not going to Kenya, okay, and doing mass conversions. We're not doing that. So if you want to do that, why shouldn't I help you want to do that? And then we relax together.
Yeah.
Why should I be uptight around you for no reason?
No, that's true. I mean, if that was the case, but it's like you said, it's not the case.
Because they don't know. And now I
So
see.
what are we proving now with this
The
clause?
proof now is the context of ger toshav today. The inyan of ger toshav today. It's not about I'm spiritual, I get olam haba, I'm righteous, but all the things that Russell and Mike would say, which may be true, by the way, may be true. I'm not against that. The olam haba thing, but we're just not going there. That's already, if you are more righteous, this and that, that's your business, and that's already Torah A. It's already Torah A. And I'm a Torah A guy. I'll give you that. You're a great guy, Jacques. You get olam haba. Maybe. But that's not going to win any friends and influence in Torah B. No one asks you your olam haba card in Torah B synagogue. No one. No one. Even the Jew doesn't care about his olam haba in Torah B. That's a Torah A or even Torah C. Right? Torah A and Torah C are they're two sides of one coin. Torah A says, I get olam haba. Torah C says, I get olam haba because I believe the Rebbe is the Messiah. You understand? It's the same thing. Two different sides. So, if we're going to prove in Torah B, then at the very least, this is very, very brisk. It's like saying, I'm a ger toshav because I can touch your wine. We kind of hit on that over the years. We didn't not. But I see now that actually is the I think what we did today is we separated out Torah C and Torah A. For years, I think we wanted to go Torah A. Even the law, the problem with laws of ger toshav is it's the Torah A of Torah B. And like Mike and Russell are Torah A without Torah B. Right? We're super spiritual. We're elevated. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to enter that discussion. But that doesn't prove anything either. So in Torah B, it's got to be exactly right, the exact inyan. And a lot of times I think we confuse Torah A of Torah B as Torah B. And it's not. Because everything you say in Torah A of Torah B can be negated by, okay, but not today because there's no Jubilee. You understand? You're always going to be wrong. It's always going to come back to that Rambam. So then we have to say, okay, then what is today? And it's not Nevela, because you can say Nevela is a mitzvah of Levitical Torah. So there's no Nevela. Not today. Now you can offer it, you can do it ceremonially, like getting married is a ceremonial mitzvah, but it's not Levitically required. So now we lost all the mitzvahs also in terms of proof. So we remember, Torah B Judaism is non-mitzvah based. Your fake idolatrous wine is not a mitzvah at all. It's a custom to stay away from the goy. So we're not looking for truth. We're not looking for spirituality. We're not looking for Torah. We're not looking for mitzvahs. We're not looking for really anything worthwhile, because none of it exists today. We learn the existence for our own neshama, our own soul, our own revelation, our own whatever. Okay? The inyan of learning Levitical Torah is for your own soul salvation, whatever that means. I was speaking a little bit like whatever for the sake of whatever, because it is whatever. You know, whatever you learn Levitically is your business. I don't know, your connection to God and your soul, whatever that stuff means to you. I mean, that's all it is. That's all it is in that sphere. And I'm not discounting it. There's a great power, but that's between you and God at that point. I mean, that's not for me. So Torah B is very much not God. You know, my decision to stay away from you when I drink my wine has nothing to do with God. It's a pure enactment of religion. So then in that, we can relax if you have Kabbalah. Now, I assume, obviously, if I'm a Gentile that rejects all of that stuff, and I become a Ger Toshav in Torah B, I'm probably going to have if I do it according to the Indian, some kind of revelation of God in a relationship with God. True? Right? I'm going to be somewhat clear of truth and Torah and all these things in my mind. So, yeah, you are a Torah A guy. It just doesn't concern me in terms of proving this. Now, when we are drinking wine together, I'm sure we can have a great Torah A discussion, get closer to God, and find revelation of Torah A and Levitical Torah. Fine. But that's not going to prove Ger Toshav in a Torah B religion. You understand?
Man, you have struck a whole bunch of comments here. Wow.
I think I solved it. I truly do.
Yeah.
Truly do.
On the one hand, what you're saying is, and we've had this discussion before, unless you change the terminology in some way, you're going to continue to operate in their arena. They already have a definition for every single thing you come up with and an answer.
So I'm saying this is playing, devil's advocate on the highest level, assuming, okay, you got me. There's no Torah A. You win. And I'm certainly not going to go to Torah C, because you lost. So the only battleground left is really, really, really hardcore brisk Torah B.
Yes.
Now, but I would say we really should not be there. I am not there, and I don't think you should be there either. But your friends are there, and the discussion itself is there. So I don't advocate being there, but if we're gonna be there, then this is where it needs to be.
Well, agreed. And again, too, I'm hearing on the fringes. I mean, it's not being said directly, but this Ger Toshav, if you will, with Kabbalah, if that is the conditions or the standard, and it would cause them to be able to relax their religion around that individual, then on the one hand, okay, it's like I have now removed a perceived threat to my religion. This guy will not be someone.
Exactly. He's not going to screw me over in my religion. Exactly what it is. Exactly.
So now that they have this opportunity to let their guard down, then that's when the human relationship can begin.
Exactly.
There's nothing
Exactly.
for them.
Exactly. As long as I know you're not going to screw me in my religion, which is usually, what do you call it, fundamentalist by nature, right? So I hate you because of my religion. I hate you. It's fundamentalist.
Yes.
This is why I don't like it. But okay, since you're not a threat to my fundamentalism, like you're saying, Ross, now maybe we can have a human conversation, and a glimpse of light will let us leave religion behind and have a humane conversation. Maybe. But without that, there's not even a chance.
Okay. Right. And one other element that's in the mix is if they were to admit, okay, because of this particular status, you might stand a chance at Olam Haba, whatever that is, to whomever. Then on the one hand, if that's the case, if he admits, okay, yeah, it looks like you might qualify for Olam Haba, the flip side of that is, well, now that he is entitled or enabled or has a possibility of it, then I lose my special status. I know I was going to get Olam Haba, but if I say that he can go, that makes me less special. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey?
So that's going to be the Torah B Jew that doesn't want to go to Torah A. The Torah B Jew that goes to Torah A would say you and me, right? So that's what I'm saying. You don't have to take it to Torah A. You don't have to. It's just, can we coexist in Torah B?
Yes.
And the answer is, this is how.
Right. I'm not so much concerned about the world to come. I'm trying to fix the one we live in.
That's it. That's it. And I'm in my religion, and if we're gonna fix that, I need, really think about it. I mean, if you want to get really into it, the Jew is stuck in a cult. Okay, the only way out, and I think I live this more than maybe anyone, is the Ger Toshav is the key, because you allow me to relax long enough that I can see some light and come out of my Torah B into Torah A, reject Torah C. And maybe that's what the whole Noga is about, right? Coming into the world safely, because the Jew is stuck in his religion. And the only way that come out is if we can relax. And I can't relax unless there's a Ger Toshav to help me relax. Then you get into the whole, Nefesh Ger and all these things. So it's very crucial, to put it mildly.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions and bad teachings that has to be overcome.
Yeah. The limitation here is that most people in Torah B default to C, falsely elevate to A, and are largely ignorant of B. Too ignorant of B. So in the end, there is no relaxation. Or there's relaxation that is not qualified or justified. So in order to really get it out, you would need to highlight Ger Toshav in the proper channels of relaxation in Torah B Judaism.
Right. And then there's another factor too. If I turn around and in any way, shape, form, or fashion give a inkling that I admit or on some level give some type of a admission that the Ger Toshav does exist, then what are my friends going to think? What's the community going to do?
That's why you can't take it to A. You can't say it in that way, because that's the way you said it is Torah A.
Right.
You got to keep it very, 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 very strict in Torah B.
Yes.
And that's what I think I found now is even just limit it to wine, and then step by step, every din where there's the akum, and we can replace it with Ger Toshav. And then you build it, right? Keep it in B. I think that's the lesson here. It needs, we failed because we always took it to A. A got attacked by C. We fight C. And then the real answer is forget C and forget A. Keep it in B.
Right. Yes.
Because it'll actually work in B, and you'll get the Jew to relax. And once he's relaxed in B, theoretically, he should be able to elevate to A and then see the stupidity of C.
How to make the formula work.
Yeah. I want to try it too. I want to try to put it out there. Now that I think I get it a little bit more clean, I think it would work. I want you to try it also, Ross and Nativ. Try to make it fly. See, just don't go to A, man. There's no Olam Haba, nothing. Keep it really on the nose. Keep it on the nose in B and see if it allows the very religious Jew to relax. That's all I want to see. I don't care about nothing. Soul, nothing. God, even God, nothing. Nothing. Just
Right.
Can this Goy Ger Toshav help a religious Jew relax? That's it. On the real halacha. That's the question. I think it'll work. I really do.
Agree.
It can even make the ger relax.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's antithetical to think that the answer is actually, to lose God, lose your soul, lose spirituality, lose the fight, and just stay in benign B. It's like you're saying, Jock, everyone's in B anyways. They're all in B. Where do you want it to go? They're all in B. And if you go to A, you're gonna find the enemy missionary in C. It's not worth it. So the answer is just to go in B.
Yep.
Jock, you've been actually pushing this for a while. Like you say, we got to live in B world. You tell me that every day. That's really the answer. Just because you're not a B guy doesn't mean you can't go and be tolerant and okay in B. Just to help for the sake of helping them relax.
Yeah. And even for the Noahide, I mean, we always said that, you don't want to make a special guy with a ger toshav. You rather want to put it out there as a path. It's a journey.
We lost you.
Hello? Did you lose me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you hear me?
You said we don't want to make them special, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, you don't want to create like a special breed. Ger
That's what I'm
toshav.
saying. Keeping it, I see the beauty now of keeping it for the sake of the mission, right? Just keeping it in B. Just because you don't really. I think our failure was we thought we could fraternize in A, but you're giving people way too much credit. They have A potential. I mean, Asher Meza's got A potential, or he wouldn't be a C guy. C guys have A potential. And then every A guy is a C guy. Chaim, Baxt. Okay? So I think you're giving people way too much credit. At the end of the day, people are going to default into a B probably because they just don't know or fear. So meet them there. You don't need to worry about God in your soul because they're not worried about it. Sadly enough, they're not worried about it themselves. They should be. They really should be, but they're just not. I'm sorry to tell you, they are just not. So don't go there. And you certainly don't need to fight in C. So just meet them in B. I think it's very safe, very benign, and it'll actually work. I really do.
Agreed.
And God is your business. Your soul is your business, and your A is your business. If you can find a relationship in A, obviously go for it. But that's not where you're going to find most people. They're not. Even people that get A are going to default to B. I found that with my every relationship I've been in. All of them. I thought we had A relationships. We do not. Every time they default to B and C. Do they not? Every time. Every time. So, your A is your business. That is your growth. And if you find a partner in A, then great. But I don't think that's where the game starts. It starts in B. And I don't think the goal is to elevate them. I think just be with them in B. Help keep them relaxed in B. The longer they relax in B, they'll find their A. You don't need to do it. Just be you, relaxing in B. I know I can. I did scans at Profit the other night. And a little Colo guy came up. I had no problem being B with him. Seriously, I'm so not B. It doesn't bother me. You want to be B with? I'll be B with you. What's the threat?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a B guy, but it's so far from me. I really don't mind being B around you.
Well, that's again what Abram did.
Yeah.
He met you where you are.
Yeah. I mean, I have no interest in observing B like you. Okay, that will torture me. Okay, I really that is pain. But in social situations, yeah, we can be B. I can go to yeshiva anyway. I mean, we can be B all day. It'll just relax, and I think that's the mission. Help them relax.
So in other words, they're so, and I don't mean to be disrespectful or harsh, but they're one dimensional and they have problems being multidimensional. They don't know how to engage in A, B, and C. They either live in an A or a C.
Yeah. And they got their
Uh,
A moments and they got their C moments and they default to B most of the time. Chaim
right.
is a B guy almost all the time. He is a B guy. He's got his A beliefs, he's got his C paranoias, and he's gonna live in spot mostly all the time as a B Jew. And that's almost everyone I've met. Almost all of them. If not all of them. Imagine if all the goyim in the world were Ger Toshav like this.
Yeah.
You tell me. I'm not a fan of Mashiach. I'm really not. But I do think Mashiach would come. Think about it. Every goy on earth would help the Jewish people relax. Would that not be redemption?
Absolutely.
Should.
To me, the redemption always has been when you tear down the wall and build a bridge.
That's it. But stop trying to do more than just being in B. It'll build itself. You don't need to build it. I think that's where everyone gets it wrong. I'm going to be the goy that helps people. No, just let them relax.
Yep.
I think once the Jew is relaxed, he'll build it himself. He knows what to do. He will build it.
Well, his relaxation is the destruction of the wall.
That's it. I gotta go. It's time for bed. Stop the recording here. I think this is a good class. I think we solved it. And let's stop there.
Okay. Thank you.
Audio. All right. So